Once upon a time, two retired teachers decided to convert their garage into a pottery studio. Along with their daughter and son, they built a business around the idea that the world could use a little more art and a lot more artists. We're the Kaya family. Welcome to Wocky Pots. Hi everybody, how you doing? How you been? How are things? Shane and Diana here with coffee time number 51 at Wocky Pots Studio. Got a few things to talk about today. Diana, what's on the schedule for today?
Alrighty, well we will be going over things that happened last week, but before we do that, we want to start by talking about our map update. We're going to be doing the map update in our next episode, which will be episode 52.
Right.
So, folks, if you have not already told us where you are in the world, if you'll leave us a comment and tell us your name and where you're located, just, city and place maybe is a good spot. We will add you to our map.
We'll stick a pin in the map for you.
Yes, it's in our living room, and I really enjoy adding those little pins in the map and seeing all of the different countries and continents of the world.
Right. We have yet to get a viewer from Antarctica, but we have every other continent covered.
Yes. So, but always room for more.
That's right.
Yes. So, well, let's go ahead now, and we're going to talk about everything that went on last week.
Yep. It was cold last week. I'm going to
God.
start with that. It was frigid here.
Unseasonably cold, guys. We're talking 40 mile per hour sustained winds, 18 degree Fahrenheit wind chill.
Right. That was pretty cold. I don't know. I mean, the actual temperature was cold enough, like in the mid 20 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yes.
And then you add in the 40 mile an hour sustained winds, and it was chilly.
Yes. But on a good note, we did have a fire in the fireplace.
That's right.
And we roasted marshmallows in the fireplace.
And I love our little fireplace. It would not be good for heating the whole house, but for making a nice little cozy spot in the living room, it's fantastic.
Yes. And we only do it when the temperatures are really, really cold. So, but it was wonderful. We did have a bisque load come out last week too.
Right.
We did put a bisque load in. It was not a full kiln, but the majority of the kiln was full of pieces that Carolyn had made.
Yep.
So
Carolyn made a few things, and that was what most of the bisque load was. We do have a couple of new things that we wanted to show you that came out of the bisque load.
Yes.
Should we show those now?
Yes, sure. You want to start with the fishy dishes?
Yeah, so one of the cool things is, we make those little heart dishes, and they're very popular. But Diana has a cookie cutter now in the shape of a fish. And
it's so cute.
She stamped out some of these fish dishes, and they're going to function very much like our little heart dishes. Maybe good for as a spoon rest or as a place to park your tea bag or something like that.
And they do have texture on them, and they have a variety of different textures because I love to add the texture.
I can't wait to see these when they're glazed. They're going to be so awesome.
But I love the fact that it has all those little spaces that things can rest on nicely, So I really think it'll do a nice job.
Yeah.
So I'm happy with them. There's one in there that looks like the fish is wearing pajamas.
Yay.
Carolyn did that one. It's got little stars and moons and stuff. And she's like, Mom, I really want you to make that one look like it's Jamie's.
Well, I can't wait to see it. I see you also took your sweater pattern and made some mitten ornaments.
I did, yes.
Those will be super cute.
They might be for us. I don't know.
Maybe go right on our tree. And a couple of little boxes, little round jewelry boxes.
I'm not happy with those, but I will do them again. They could be jewelry boxes. They could also be used for a salt jar. But the reason I'm not happy with them...
I don't know what she means either.
It's the lid.
Oh, you don't like the lid?
No, this should have been farther out. And... I don't know why I did it
She's
so far
just not
in.
happy, you guys.
Well, take a look. I mean, look, watch.
Oh, well, in that case, I'm sure it'll turn out just fine.
But I lesson
learned.
Better.
Lesson learned for next time, possibly. But that was a first for you anyway, so
right.
not a big deal.
Yeah, so those things, and then I have a couple more owls.
We love those little tiny
Yes,
owls.
so they came out of the kiln also.
Mm-hmm.
So that was pretty much it for things that we had in the kiln.
For the bisque load,
Yes,
right?
but Carolyn's sure has it full of
She had a whole
lots
bunch of stuff, and
things.
we're not going to say what it was because some of the stuff
Yes.
was for gifts, and some of the people who
Yes.
are going to receive them might be watching this.
That's
so
right. So you can't find out until it's time.
We'll show you later,
Yes.
maybe.
Yes. We also had our last art class.
Right, our last homeschool art class
Yes.
happened, and we had a ball with these kids. It was so much fun. We were studying the technique of resist, and we made some snowflakes. And maybe you can see behind me.
We used wax. We used crayon wax
And then tape.
and tape, and we did it in 3 different layers so that the different snowflakes were all different colors. So.
And I got to remember to show you a closer picture
Yes.
of the one. But we had a great time with that. That was the last homeschool art class of the year. We will be having more coming up in either January, February. We haven't decided which yet. But our next homeschool art class will be centered on clay. We're going to be making stuff with the students out of clay, 3D design and ceramics. I think it's going to be a blast.
Yes,
so
and
much
we
fun.
already had a person contact us this morning wondering when our next one was going to be. So I promised her I would let her know just as soon as we have it scheduled. But I'm not ready to schedule anything yet.
Right, we're gonna wait for a little bit to see exactly how
Yeah.
much time
Yes.
we're gonna allow to
Yes.
lapse.
And last week we did make some things here in the studio.
A few things.
A few
I didn't
things.
make much. I
Not
didn't
a
make
whole
much.
lot because it was really bitter cold, and it was cold in here too.
We were cold every day except for the day when we did the bisque load. It was not
Yes,
cold in
that's
here
the only
that
day.
day.
Yes. So what we talked about last week was that we were going to be making some soy sauce dishes
Right,
because
small
we
little-
had some folks asking for them, and you said you were going to make some on the wheel.
Mm-hmm.
So I see you have a few over there, possibilities.
Right, a couple of possibilities here. It's really only 3,
Mm-hmm.
and then I also couldn't resist the chance to make a tiny little mommy vase.
Yes.
Also,
And then I tried making some square ones. So I have that size, and then I wanted a slightly larger size, so then I have that size. And once they're done, I'm gonna find out how much they hold and kind of help me to judge which maybe is the best, which I don't know, maybe both sizes. What do you
Who knows?
guys think?
Who knows?
You know, if you were gonna have it for
Soy sauce.
soy sauce or condiments, I guess, of any kind.
That'd be a great container for ketchup. And I'm gonna be honest with you, when I was making these bowls, I was really thinking about ketchup. Just a receptacle for ketchup.
And then I couldn't help myself because I just love this little rectangle shape. I really do. And it is so cute. And I know it would be great. A great small little tray for something. I'm not exactly sure what at this time. But I have this little rolling texture with the trees and the rocks. And it fits perfectly in this. So I had to make that. So
Well, we
Yes.
like to make things
Yes.
sometimes just for the fun of
yes.
making them.
And
Oh, right. We have these new cookie cutter forms.
yeah. Pop,
And
pop.
and I will show a picture of these as well.
Yes.
But they make the shape on the outside and then give an imprint
Yes.
on it.
And I did make 4 of them because there were 4. And so I tried each one out. Now, I will say my clay was a little stiff that day, so I had a harder time getting the impression made. And in fact, if you look, you'll see where I have gone in and recarved out some lines that weren't exactly showing. But anyway, I think they're super cute.
That's going to be fantastic.
They're super cute.
Yep.
And then the last thing that I have made is right here. And this is a new thing for me, so we'll see how this goes. I'm hoping that this will hold a little tea light.
Like
Either
votive?
yeah. Well, the little tea light candles, they're little tiny short things, and the flames on top. You can do them so that they actually you do light them, or you can get the LED ones. But anyway, so it would fit down in there. Oh, don't scratch it up, Diana.
Super, super cool little luminary.
And then I've got the little holes in. So anyway, so we'll see. I'm hoping that this will turn out really cute because I'm thinking probably a really good color for that would simply be just Amico Celadon Snow.
Right, it would be very nice.
I think that would look really nice and be wintry, and I know I would like it.
It would be a great thing to make.
Yes.
Real quick, the little tiny bowls that I made were made from the chocks that I use for trimming pottery on the wheel. So I kind of felt like I didn't want to just throw them back in the bag. So I just made 4 little things. Each one of these was one of the chocks that I use on the wheel to hold the pieces while I trim them. And I was going to go for 4 bowls, but I really couldn't resist the urge to make a little vase. But I'm not going to tell you about the other thing that's on the table here yet. Not quite
yes,
yet.
Not quite yet. We're almost there, though. The other thing we did last week was a family holiday activity. And that was we went to see the trains. And I told you all that I would make sure I took some pictures so that you could see them too, because it really is a large display, so we'll make sure we add those pictures too. I even took a little short video too, so it's just amazing what they do.
These model train sets are really so detailed and so precise. Yeah. I saw a couple of little model trains that I had not seen in the previous years. I saw a model of a bullet train, which was really awesome. I love that modern kind of addition to the old-timey kind of classic train setups. And then I also saw the passenger trains that had little windows and you could see people inside the little tiny passenger trains.
I took a picture of that. I hope the people are visible in the picture. Yes. And a really cool thing was when we got ready to leave, one of the ladies that was there, gave us the paperwork for in case Christopher is interested in going and joining and helping with the trains. And
they had a lot of really
and I think
cool
it would be
things
fun.
happening there.
He's always loved trains, so
and the technology,
it's a little bit of a drive, but
the remote controls and the monitors, and it was pretty
big
awesome.
Boards.
It looked just like an actual train setup, and as far as I can tell, they run them in a similar fashion. It was pretty awesome.
It was interesting, very much so. And now, of course, it's time for our highlight and our challenge. Do you want to do the challenge first?
Okay, so here was the challenge. I had made a few cups several days ago, and I forgot to account for us running a bisque load here in the studio that warmed up the studio and removed much of the moisture. And what happened, long story short, what happened was my mug bodies dried out way faster than I intended for them to. And that means they were dry when I came out.
Did you even get the bottoms trimmed?
No, I didn't do anything with them
no
at
part
all.
of it. Wow.
I came out today to put the handles on, and whoopsie doodle, they were all bone dry. So I'm trying an experiment, and that's my challenge. Of course, the fastest and easiest way to fix the problem, which is that the bone dry cups couldn't have a handle attached to them, the fastest and easiest way to fix that would just be to chuck those mugs and make new mugs. It only takes a couple minutes to make one, and that would have been the fastest way. However, this seems to be a recurring problem that we're having in the studio, and I would love to have a method for recovering those almost bone dry pieces, even if it takes a long span of time to do it, as long as I can recover them and get something out of a non-recoverable piece. So what is in this bag here is 2 layers of Hardybacker board, and I'm using them as bats underneath the dry cup. The one layer of Hardybacker board on the bottom has been saturated with water. The Hardybacker board on top of that is dry, and then on top of that is the cup, and then the whole thing is encased and sealed in a plastic bag. And my hope is that over the course of the next probably week, maybe 2 weeks, I will slowly rehydrate these cups to the point where they will be moist enough for me to attach a handle. I don't anticipate it taking less than a week, and it might take 2 weeks, and it also might not work at all. Right. It is entirely possible that the bottom of the cup will rehydrate faster than the top of the cup, and that will result in a crack. but I'm hoping that the method that I'm using will introduce water into the clay in a slow enough fashion that I'll be able to recover these and then actually put handles on them.
Okay.
I will let you know how it works, and if it doesn't work, and I'm about 80% sure it's not going to work, if it doesn't work, then this clay will just go back in a reclaimed
Right.
bucket, and eventually it will become another bowl or cup
And
or
you
whatever.
can experiment again.
And yes, I can experiment again, and that experimentation is super important. It's vital. I'm sure that this would be easier just to chuck the clay and not worry with it. But at the same time, I would love to have a method for fixing it if we can.
Right, because there are times that things come up and we just don't get back out here, and you have it in plastic and you're not expecting it to dry out.
This was
like it
completely
did.
my fault because I didn't completely encase it with plastic. I put a plastic bag over top of the cup, forgetting that we were running a bisque load. If we hadn't run the bisque load, it would have been just fine. Came back a couple days later and they're completely dry.
Gotcha.
And that's my fault. If I had a damp box, which would seal it up completely, or if I had completely covered it in plastic top and bottom, wouldn't have been an issue.
Okay.
But anyway, that's the challenge. The challenge
Yes.
is can we recover it? Probably not, but we're going to give it a try.
Yes. And then I get to share the highlight, because the highlight of the week was the fact that I filmed and got out onto YouTube the owl tutorial.
Right. It was a
So-
great tutorial for making your little
didn't
owls.
have it positioned just right, but I learned from it, and you could still see, but I would have liked it to have been closer to the camera and not so far out. It was a little bit almost out of frame, but it worked, and I received a lot of good feedback on it from folks, and a lot of people said they couldn't wait to make some, or I learned about owls that are in their area, and I went and looked them up, and and so it was really fun. So that was my highlight.
Definitely
for the week.
a highlight.
Yes. And instead of a question this week, guys, we're going to be sharing basically an interesting fact. So our fact is that pottery can act as a time capsule. Now, do you want to explain that?
All right, so way back a million years ago when I was in one of my anthropology classes in college, in fact, it was an archaeology class, I remember one of our activities was to go get a cheap clay flower pot, and we could either use one that we already had or go buy a new one. I didn't have one, so I went to and bought one, and then break it, put it in a plastic bag and drop it on the cement floor, and then reassemble it. And that activity in itself was fun and interesting and all, but it was meant to highlight the challenges that archaeologists have when they find these pottery shards, pot sherds, in their archaeological digs. Now, the reason that archaeologists are usually pretty jazzed about finding those pot sherds is because the pottery tells us a lot about the people who were living at that time. And it tells us about their technology level, and it tells us about their level of artistry. In a lot of cases, if you see very ornate pottery with detailed paintings and stuff. And it really is a great way of establishing when a civilization was flourishing. Pottery is what I call a formative technology. Very early people, long, long ago, developed the technology for pottery, and it was about as important as the discovery of the wheel or some other physics kind of things. Pottery enabled people to store food and transport goods over huge distances and over long spans of time. So the kind of pottery that people used is really a time capsule for showing what the people were doing at that time, culturally and technologically. It's pretty interesting stuff, really.
It really is. And to think, too, that what we're making right now, maybe thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago, may turn up somewhere.
From now, right? Yeah, so...
and people will be looking back at this time.
trying to decipher that strange symbol on the bottom of this brightly colored coffee cup. Who knows what that means? So pottery is kind of a forever thing, and if it remains unbroken, there's no reason to think that it wouldn't last for centuries.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. So, alrighty, we're going to go ahead and we're going to move to what's going on this week.
It's got a few things happening.
We do. We have a lot of social type things going on.
'Tis the season, right?
That's right. That's right. So, for example, tomorrow, my cousins and my friend Kim and I are going over to the glass blowing studio where Carolyn works, and we're going to make glass ornaments. So, I'll have a glass ornament next week to show you guys.
That will be so
That'll be
fun.
And then we've got Christopher's orchestra performance this week on Thursday, and somehow or another he has a small solo with his sax in there.
Wow.
So I'm like, ooh, okay.
Can't wait to see that.
Yes, so that's going to be fun. I actually have a holiday party I'm going to with former colleagues that I taught with.
You're a social butterfly.
I know. So anyway, and then I forgot to tell you, we have a date Friday night.
Oh, do we? Together?
Yes.
Oh, fun. Okay.
I was going to take you to the brewery in
Oh,
town.
I would
'cause we've
love
not been
that.
yet.
There's a new brewery in town that opened not that long ago. I would love to do that.
Yes, so
Fun.
I thought you would enjoy that. So so it's something going on just about every day this week.
How about in the studio? What are we going to do in here?
Oh, lots and lots of cleaning and reorganization, because folks, all you can see is right here, and this is like the nicest part of the studio right now.
It's a mess in here. It's
Oh,
messy.
there's stuff everywhere, and we can't find anything anymore.
Time to reorganize.
Yes.
Time to bring some order to this one-horse town.
So we've got a lot to do here in the studio. I'm hoping to make something, but as I said, if there's something made, I'll be happy. I don't even know what it will be.
If we just gear up for a huge
Yes.
push in January, I'll feel very happy.
Yes.
Now, that's what's happening in the studio.
Right.
Outside of the studio, we're going to be establishing our virtual storefront, and we've decided on the platform of Etsy. We're going to be selling our stuff on Etsy. So probably next week for our next coffee time, we will introduce our Etsy store and show you guys how, if you're interested in purchasing some of our items, you'll be able to go to Etsy and order it from Etsy. Now, there are some real disadvantages to using that as a platform, but the advantages in our case outweigh those disadvantages. Basically, we won't have to deal with tax and cost of shipping and all that other jazz, passing that on to the customer. So what we'll do is we'll use Etsy for the next probably year, and we do anticipate branching out and having our own e-commerce platform on our own webpage. We do have our own webpage.
We do, and I know we have the ability to put the things there. The only problem is I'm not sure exactly how to, I know, we sold at the market in Virginia. Well, that's Virginia sales tax. If we do shows in Maryland, then that's Maryland sales tax. Well, if we're selling to people in California and Maine and Texas and all over the country, how do you keep straight those taxes, and how do you make sure everything is done correctly?
And it's not an impossible task. We know people do this. We're just not prepared to put the time in for that yet.
I'm still new to so many things that I just didn't want one more new thing.
Our Etsy store will launch with about 50 listings, at least 50 listings, maybe a little bit more. And that will be the beginning of our selling things online. Now, because we are sort of established here on YouTube, you'll be seeing some of the stuff that we're going to be offering up for sale also, and get a little sneak peek at our online storefront from time to time. I think that's going to be a great thing.
Yeah, I think that'll be good. So we are working on taking photographs of things this coming week too. And then the other thing we have to do this week is we have to finalize our order for the ceramic shop, because we are out of a lot of glazes. Our clay is dwindling over there, and we're going to need to get that before the harshness of winter sets in.
Right. We don't want to be hauling boxes of clay, when it's 10 degrees outside.
Right. I don't want the chance of things freezing and all. And we generally make the trip and we go pick up the things, and it's a 3.5 hour drive, and so I really don't want to have to drive on bad roads.
It'll be okay. We'll do that. I know as far as our clays go, we do love our Sheltoe Brown, and we are nearly out of that. And I like that standard 225 without the speckles.
I know. I'm kind of considering just moving to the 225. I really am. Because with the speckles in it, a lot of times there's a lot of reactions with glazes that not all glazes like it. So I think I'd like to start doing a little bit more with the 225, although I love the speckles. I really do.
Who knows what it will be.
Yeah.
All I know is we will be getting more clay and glazes and other supplies and stuff like that, because ultimately our goal is to make a whole bunch of stuff this winter, so that when springtime rolls around, we don't have to worry so much about making things daily in the studio to keep up.
Right. So it's a lot going on this coming week, and hopefully by this time next week, the studio will be pristine. Everything will be labeled. Everything will be in its place.
Hopefully.
And you'll remember to put it back in its place.
Oh yeah, it says the lady who is constantly moving stuff and not putting it away or putting it away dirty.
Well, and mainly my glasses.
Right, your glasses. If you could have the ability to just find your glasses and your phone whenever you snapped your fingers, man, that would save you half of the things you look for right there. Boom.
It would.
Yep.
It really would. So.
Okay, anything else we need to talk about?
I don't think so.
All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Do hit that like and subscribe button. And don't forget to hit that bell icon to be notified of new content. And as always, toodaloo, TTFN, ta-ta for now. Take care. See you later. Have a fantastic day, no matter where you're at. Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.